These challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
This bill is therefore proposed to fill this wide gap to provide the law that establishes an institutional framework responsible for regulating the conduct of auction in all its ramifications in Nigeria.
Senators seek for the regulation of auctioneering business in Nigeria.
First of all, it was given as a cash advance to the desk officer, all 79 million.
And Senate Committee on Public Accounts raises doubt over 79 million naira expenditure for Chibok girls. Hello and thanks for joining us. I am Hussaina Amina Aboki, welcoming you to this week's edition of your program Inside the Senate. In this week's edition of the program, we have reports of the second reading of the Auctioneers Registration Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, as well as the Project Development Agency Establishment Bill 2023. We also have reports from the Senate Committee on Public Accounts, which sought explanation of how monies appropriated to 3 federal government agencies were spent. Stay tuned for details after the break. Don't go away.
The Senate will send a message to the President
to reap opportunities from that agreement.
Raise a matter of urgent public importance, and we are aware that when this particular motion comes up
for a longer term development, arise to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Welcome back. The Senate, before the campaign recess, considered some bills for second reading. One of the bills is the Auctioneers Registration Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, sponsored by Senator Ali Ndime. The sponsor, in his submission, disclosed that the bill, amongst other things, is seeking the professionalization of the auction business and ensuring effective returns of its proceeds into the appropriate government coffers to boost the nation's revenue profile for developmental services to Nigerians. Regulation and monitoring the business of practicing of auctioneers and auctioneering in Nigeria. He added that auctioneering business has been existing now for over 2,000 years, but lamented that in Nigeria, the practice lacks a single legal framework that regulates it as a business or as a profession, despite the fact that technology has now been adopted in its practice.
This bill is therefore proposed to fill this wide gap to provide the law that establishes an institutional framework responsible for regulating the conduct of auction in all its ramifications in Nigeria. The legislative proposal under this consideration will go a long way in helping Nigeria with a legal framework that regulates auction business in the country as it obtains in other jurisdictions within Africa and the rest of the world. Finally, Mr. President, the cost implication, which is required by our rules. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, it may interest you to note that the proposed Auctioneers Registration Council will not rely on any government funding.
While allaying fears that the establishment of the council would come with cost implications, the sponsor added that the council would be self-funded through practicing fees to be paid by registered and licensed auctioneers alongside dues to be prescribed by the council. After some observations in the lead debate, one lawmaker gave reasons for supporting the passage of the bill for second reading.
3 things are very fundamental. One, this is one time that we need to generate revenue, at least to reduce the deficit component of our national budget. Mr. President, this auction is being done arbitrarily, so there is need for us to have transparency and accountability in the auction process. Finally, Mr. President, the bill doesn't have any financial implication on the government. On that note, Mr. President, I support the second passage of Bill.
Accordingly, the bill was recommended for second reading, after which it was referred to the Committee on Establishment and Public Service to report back as soon as possible.
For an act to establish the Auctioneers Registration Council of Nigeria for the purpose of regulating and monitoring the business and practice of auctioneers and auctioneering in Nigeria and for related matters 2023, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Auctioneers Registration Council of Nigeria for the purpose of regulating and monitoring the business and practice of auctioneers and auctioneering in Nigeria and for related matters 2023, second reading taken.
The next bill presented for second reading was the Project Development Agency Establishment Bill 2023, sponsored by Senator Frank Ibezim. In his lead debate, the sponsor shed more light on the bill, revealing that the agency has been existing now for over 40 years without legislative backing. The agency carries out engineering designs, development and fabrications, researches into material sciences and technology, foundry work, plastic and synthetic fibers, generating and catalyzing industrialization by carrying out industrial research from the laboratory stage to the pilot plant stage, as well as rendering consultancy services to governments, industries and individuals. He added that with the passage of the bill, the scope of the agency's function will be broadened beyond the above mentioned in areas which he enumerated as follows:
processing of ceramic materials and other solid-based minerals for industrial use, including development of ceramics, glass and mineral technologies, processing of agro-produce into various byproducts through the development of appropriate technology and machinery requirements, carry out mechanical engineering, including engineering design, fabrication, machining and other processes, carry out electrical and electronic elements, particularly electrical generators, motors, transformers, switchgear, barrels, and other equipment. Undertake economic evaluation of research resource to establish their viability in micro, small, medium, and large enterprise development. Carry out training in specialized technical areas and award proficiency certificates. Establish a specially advanced technology center with a postgraduate degree awarding curriculum in science and technology.
One contribution was taken on the bill.
The timing of this bill for the Project Development Agency is apt, and all the postulations of the bill are indeed very timely and is hereby supported for second reading.
As a result, the bill was read a second time.
A bill for an act to establish the Project Development Agency charged with the broad function of generating and catalyzing industrialization by carrying out industrial research from the laboratory stage to the pilot plant stage, and by rendering consultancy services to governments, industries and individuals, and for other related matters 2023, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish the Project Development Agency charged with the broad function of generating and catalyzing industrialization by carrying out industrial research from the laboratory stage to the pilot plant stage, and by rendering consultancy services to government, industry and individuals, and for other related matters 2023, second reading taken.
The bill was referred to the Senate Committee on Science and Technology to report back as soon as possible. We will now open our notebook segment to examine the procedures for the passage of a bill into law. Stay tuned for the details.
A bill is a legislative proposal laid before the legislature for a law or for a change of an existing law through an amendment. For a bill to become a law, it is first presented to the Senate for first reading. At this stage, no debate is taken. This is followed by a second presentation of the bill on another day, during which it is debated by senators for or against. At the end of the debate, the bill either scales second reading or is rejected. If it scales second reading, it is referred to the appropriate committee for more legislative input. This may include public hearing, during which it will be open to contributions by the public for or against. The committee later submits a report on it to the Senate. The report is perused clause by clause in the Committee of the Whole for observations by senators. At the end, the bill scales third reading and passed.
Welcome back. We now continue the program with reports from proceedings of the Public Accounts Committee, which hosted various government agencies to an interactive session on Tuesday, the 14th of February 2023, during which they answered queries from the Auditor General of the Federation on how they spent monies allocated to them. The report is compiled and presented from our studio.
A national security advisor, which we can account for.
First to undergo the exercise was the Nigerian Customs Service. Their query is in connection with a sum of 504 million naira, alongside an additional 250 million naira, said to have been transferred into their coffers from a source not established to be either from the Office of the National Security Advisor (NSA) or the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. The Customs Controller in charge of operations, Mr. T.R. Ishame, spoke on this.
This is not the total money we received from. The one we are just constraining ourselves to this 504 is because this is what you are concerned with. We have other funds that we received. We did not apply.
These are interventions.
They are interventions now. Because it was not tagged as service-wide vote when it came to us. Additional money. There are other funds flowing from the national, like this one. We didn't know it was from service-wide vote.
The committee chairman, Senator Matthew Orogide, alongside members, sought to be furnished with evidence of communications in respect of the monies to establish their sources.
So if NSA office was transferring money to you, there should have been communication to say we are sending this money to you. Where is it? NSA too has to come and testify. Is it true you gave the 504 to customs service? All right, let him now say yes. This was the reason, the special drill we gave them the 504. We want to know where it came from. To you, even if it's your IGRO, we want to know. Because you tried to insinuate that when we were talking, the money that we collected. Or our money, you said it before you now say yes, internal revenue. Or now you now say it's NSA.
The additional 200 million, it could also be service-wide vote that was not captured by them. So you need to see proof that you got that 250 million, and then we'll backtrack and find out from the Accountant General where that money was going from. Because the NSA's office, the NSA doesn't have enough budgetary for it to support himself. No claims of dashing out 250 million like that.
Your cost of collection budget is the National Assembly that approves it. And it is considered also by the Committee on Custom. But this one is not considered. And it's still public fund. No, but it's public fund. It must be accounted for. That's what we want you to do.
The custom officers at the end of the session promised immediate action on this.
No problem, sir. We'll go into archives and we'll provide the information.
With this, proceeding in regard with the subject matter was shifted to another day to enable the customs to furnish the committee with the relevant documents.
You are not acquitted.
The Ministry of Women Affairs was next, represented by their Permanent Secretary Alhaji Shehu Aliu Shinkafi. One of the queries they were confronted with was the deployment of a cash advance of 79 million naira for payment of the second semester school fees and other expenses of 106 Chibok girls attending American University of Nigeria, Yola, Adamawa State. The representative of the Accountant General of the Federation at the committee made the presentation.
Payment of 2017-2018 second semester school. But let me check.
2017/2018.
Yeah, it was for Chibok girls schooling at American University, Nigeria, Yola.
Payment of 2017/2018.
Yeah.
Second
semester school fees of 106 Chibok girls schooling at American University of Nigeria, Yola.
106.
Yes, 106. Yes, American University of Nigeria, Yola.
Went, their tickets.
In his submission, the committee's vice chairman, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, complained that the documents on this sum did not contain sufficient information, while also arguing that the amount is far beyond the scope of a cash advance, which ordinarily should not be more than 200,000 naira.
First of all, it was given as a cash advance to the desk officer, all 79 million. And when she retired it, she just retired it with a simple explanation that it was used to visit the families of Chibok girls. And then there are some pictures of the visit, but there are no details whatsoever. You see, for the others, you have the invoice from the school fees paid to them directly, and so on and so forth. But this is, I really don't think for 79 million, 3 or 4 hour visit, something document like this will suffice. There are no details whatsoever. I don't think it meets the standard really for cash advances. Again, I don't know whether it should even be a cash advance, seeing that cash advances are limited to a maximum of 200,000, if I believe. Auditor General, am I correct? All right.
The permanent secretary promised to provide information on this to the committee in the next proceeding.
We have to know that because they have to explain.
Next to make submission before the committee was the Galaxy Backbone, a parastatal under the Federal Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, charged with the mandate of providing network management and communications and digital infrastructure services to organizations in the private and public sectors of the Nigerian economy. The permanent secretary of the ministry, Dr. Bitrus Nabasu, was faced with a question on who, between the ministry and Galaxy Backbone, spent a sum of 5 billion naira appropriated to Galaxy through the ministry in the second quarter of 2017 and first quarter of 2018 for the provision of broadband and ICT connectivity services to MDAs.
But you should be able to, at the touch of a button, dig out the documentation. How can we say 5 billion has come into that ministry and for God knows how long? When did we write to you? 3 months? You still cannot trace it and you are still struggling to trace it. 5 billion.
Like all the capital went to Galaxy.
So what do? We write it up and say, okay, 5 billion. You said they went to Galaxy. Galaxy is not throwing it back at you. What I'm trying to make you understand is that even if today I can tell you what that 5 billion is for, you that spent it should be the onus is on you, it's not on me. I may be able to know, but I'll keep quiet. The onus is not on me.
Total figure of 5 billion. So this has been broken down. So I think that it could have been better if we took them as we have taken the total now for Galaxy Backbone. Then we should have, from what she read, we added up which one is directly for the ministry.
Not too satisfied with the explanation, the committee chairman, Senator Matthew Orogide, accused the two bodies, the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, as well as Galaxy Backbone, of shifting blames amongst themselves.
The two of you were running all these days. Come and sort out yourselves so that we get your figures. You were running. Two of you were running. When you see the ministry, you say, we have not seen Galaxy. When you say Galaxy, you say, I have not seen ministry. Because you have found out that you cannot explain it. So, with these our figures, when you now come on the 28th, you just tell us, read our letter again, what we sent to you. Go and present it, your this thing to us should be in this order. Okay? This is what the money was used for.
The committee promised further investigation on the matter.
The Senate to send a message to the President
to reap opportunities from that to raise a matter of urgent public importance. And we are aware that when this particular motion comes up,
for a longer term development, arise to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Our profile segment is next. Stand by for our Senator of the Week.
Senator Solomon Adeola Olamilekan, popularly known as Yayi by friends and associates, represents Lagos West Senatorial District of Lagos State on the platform of APC. Born on the 3rd of August 1969, Senator Olamilekan attended State Primary School Alimosho in Lagos State for his first school-leaving certificate. He proceeded to Community Grammar School in Akowonjo, Lagos State for secondary education, after which he went to Ondo State Polytechnic, now Rufus Giwa Polytechnic Owo in Ondo State, and earned a higher national diploma HND in accounting. Senator Solomon Olamilekan became a chartered accountant, a distinguished chartered accountant associate of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria (ICAN), as well as a member of the Association of Accounting Technicians of Nigeria (AAT). Senator Olamilekan worked with the Guardian newspaper for 12 years and rose to the position of an accountant. He later joined Olatunji Owoyemi & Co., a chartered accounting firm leading its audit for several years and rising to the position of senior auditor before leaving to establish his own firm, Sutem Nigeria Limited, where he served as its managing director and chief executive officer. Senator Olamilekan joined politics at the dawn of the Fourth Republic, contested to the Lagos State House of Assembly and won to represent Alimosho State Constituency 2 under the then Action Congress of Nigeria (ACN). He served 2 terms from 2003 to 2007 and from 2007 to 2011, during which he was reputed to being instrumental to the enactment of the law that strengthened the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service. It was as a result of this legislation that the Lagos State IGR was catapulted from 5 billion naira to 20 billion naira per annum. He was also part of the team that passed the Fiscal Responsibility Act as well as the Public Procurement Act of Lagos State during his tenure as an honorable member of Lagos State House of Assembly. From there, he contested to the House of Representatives and served from 2011 to 2015. Senator Olamilekan then contested to the Senate in the 2015 general elections and won to represent Lagos West Senatorial District on the platform of APC and has since been there, having won in the 2019 general elections. In the Senate, he is Chairman Senate Committee on Finance as well as a member of the Committee on Land Transport, Petroleum Resources Upstream, and several other committees. His legislative interests include national economy, fiscal discipline, education, and water transportation, among others.
With this, we come to the end of this episode of the program. Join us again next week for another outing of Inside the Senate. Thanks for watching.